Hey, it's your favorite mindset coach, Marissa, and I am so grateful that you are here today to join me. So, whether you are listening on my podcast, Teach Your Mindset with Marissa E., or you are hanging out with me on my YouTube channel, Teacher_Mindset, you are going to get so much value. So, if you are a teacher, were a teacher, want to be a teacher, know a teacher, this is the podcast for you because what do we do here? We focus on helping teachers. That is the goal. I was a teacher. Now I'm a mindset coach for teachers. And I find people in the education space, whether they are teachers or were teachers or have some other place in the education space to help you save time, energy, practice self-love, avoid burnout, look at your worth, and just navigate regular challenges that teachers are encountering today. So I would encourage you to subscribe, especially on the podcast. Put a like in there so that we can push up in the algorithm because the higher we are, the more teachers we can help. That is my ultimate goal, is to bring love and positivity to so many teachers out there. So if that sounds like something you would be interested in, then without further ado, let's get into it. Hey, listeners and viewers. Joining us in this episode is Sam Vahari, an Access Bars practitioner. Now, I know what you're thinking. What in the world is access bars? But don't worry. That is literally the first question. I was honored with my first access bar session last week, and I can only hope that one day every teacher and every student and every person for that matter knows how to do this to help release stress and anxiety. I have no doubt that this interview is going to give you something to think about and make you want to learn more. Sam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Great to be here.
I'm so excited. All right, let's get straight into it. As I promised, what exactly is access bars?
Very difficult thing to explain, but ChatGPT, Google, Access Consciousness in America all concur. It's a gentle, non-invasive, hands-on body process that involves lightly touching 32 points on the head, known as bars of energy,
Okay.
to release blocked energy and facilitate relaxation and mental clarity. So to put it in very simple English, it's like reflexology on your head, right? Everyone knows what reflexology is. When you touch points on the feet, they relate to different organs in the body. The points that we're touching on the head relate to emotions, beliefs, points of view, and things that are locked in your subconscious, just causing blockages. So most people say that after an access bars session, they feel very peaceful, much more relaxed, and open to new possibilities, which is important.
That is incredible because I know when I had my session, and I was so surprised at how gentle you were actually touching the points on my head. Like I thought you were going to use pressure, but there wasn't really any pressure. And I know as we got more into it, the energy, the white energy that I could see in my mind, and maybe it's because I'm more in tuned with energy, it was just incredible. And I could feel like that release and that calm. And I am so curious, like, how could, because I work with energy myself, like how could a session be different from one person to another?
Okay, so first of all, we've all had very different experiences.
Yeah.
So the things that have been locked into our subconscious minds are very different. And things get implanted and locked in from the very moment you're born.
Right.
So we've experienced things from day one. And depending on how old you are, there's a lot more clutter in there, or maybe it's nicely ordered and not so cluttered. But I think most of us are a little cluttered at this stage.
Definitely.
um, and I think the sessions differ in, firstly, because people think differently. I've had some very scientific type people come along and they believe in Western medicine but they're willing to come and give this a try. And that's key. They're
Yeah.
willing to try something different. So they'll say to me after a session, they don't feel any different, but 2 days later, they'll tell me how well they slept.
Wow.
And how relaxed they felt the next day. Sometimes people start feeling a tingling in their fingers straight away. And it just means that their subconscious is letting go of stuff, which is wonderful. That's what we want. It's like a declutter at the end of the year, throwing out all that unwanted paperwork and making space for better stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Remember also that access bars, because we're working with energy, I've worked with people who've been diagnosed with specific types of PTSD, which
Okay.
can be work-related or something traumatic has happened. We help, during the session, we help your subconscious to break that PTSD loop. And I'm not in control. It's your own subconscious mind that knows what it needs to do. I mean, our minds are so
Right.
powerful, and we just don't know how much knowledge we have. So people's sessions can differ with the physical sensations they feel. What they feel afterwards can be different, but most people do feel a sense of release. I've had a couple of people, bearing in mind that I've worked with lots and lots of people, so it's a very small minority, who have actually felt nauseous, maybe just for 5 or 10 minutes or for an hour afterwards. But when they sit and chat to me, I realize that they've gone through some very, very traumatic things,
Okay.
and that release from their minds affects them physically.
Right. That
It's
makes sense.
never a long-lasting sensation. And the most important lesson to take from that, or thing to remember, is that no one has ever got worse from having an access bar session.
Yeah. I think that's the most important thing.
It is a very important thing. Also, I mean, we can work with people with pacemakers or whatever. It's very, very, very safe. And as you said, it's just a light touch on the head. So, yeah, I'm trying to think if there are any other very different things. I mean, I've had people who have suddenly said to me, "Oh, I've got a pain in my ankle."
Wow.
And 2 or 3 minutes later, that pain is gone. And afterwards, I'll ask them if they've ever had an operation. They go, "Oh, when I was 5, I broke my ankle." And the pain is in that exact spot, and then it's released. So it's very, very interesting because everyone's reaction is different.
That is fascinating. And I think exactly like you said, right? Because we are all holding different things in our subconscious. We're all coming with like different frames of reference when we
Yeah.
interact with other people. And nobody has gone through our experiences except us. So it makes sense that you would have different experiences when you're going through this, which I think is
Yeah.
so right, especially if you are holding things in and experiencing, stress and anxiety, especially. I'm curious, like if someone has gone through trauma, because I remember when I was having my session with you, you said, "Oh, you can talk to me, it's no problem." If someone has gone through trauma, are there any phrases that they should be saying to themselves, like while you're doing this, that can help release their emotions during the session? Anything that you think would be helpful, or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. I think what's attractive to a lot of people about access bars is they can come to me or any other practitioner and they don't have to say anything. They don't have to talk because I don't need to know what they're going through, right? So that a lot of people don't want to talk, but they'll find after 3 or 4 sessions that they just talk. It's amazing. It enables them. So there's nothing in particular that they need to talk, say, or think, while the session's going on. If there's something in particular that's bothering them that is really causing a problem or stopping them from moving forward, they can think about that particular problem while I'm doing the session, and it may help them release that faster.
Okay.
I haven't documented any results on that point. But we've been told during our training that it can help. The one thing that I often think when I'm working with or on someone is we have a mantra in Access Consciousness. It's all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And sometimes while I'm working with someone, that'll just go through my head over and over, and I get the most relaxed, peaceful feeling, which is really great because I think there's that energy exchange between the practitioner and the person being worked on. So, if I'm feeling calm and relaxed and peaceful, it means the person in the chair is probably having a similar feeling, which is great.
Yeah. Just say that phrase again for me. I love it.
All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory.
Beautiful. I'll have to add that to my list of affirmations. Definitely something I want.
Yeah, it's a great tool. When we learn to be practitioners, we're told, say that to yourself 10 times in the morning and 10 times in the evening for at least, and see what happens.
Oh, Sam, we're just going to say that again because you just froze for a second. So I want you to start with, we were taught that as practitioners.
Okay. Yeah. So when I was doing my training as a practitioner, we were told one of the tools of Access Consciousness is to say that mantra, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, 10 times in the morning and 10 times in the evening. And if you do that for 5 to 7 days, just see what happens.
I'm going to do that. And I'm going to I'll report back about my experience with that. That's fantastic. I love that. Okay. I know you were telling me before that you have done this with children, which I think is absolutely brilliant. So I really want our viewers and listeners to know what has been your experience with children. How do children embrace learning how to do this?
Children love it, right? Different age groups react a little differently. So the first time I did the practitioner training myself, there was a 7-year-old in the class with me.
Wow.
So that little 7-year-old was the youngest practitioner I've worked with. But I've found when I've worked at schools or I've trained kids, if they're around 13 or 14 or younger, they love this because it's magical.
Yeah.
Right. Dealing with energy, and we just touching each other's heads and saying some phrases in our minds, and things change. So it's like being a little superhero. Okay, you can. The kids around 14 to 17, I don't want to call an 18-year-old a kid, but that kind of age group, they love it because they can actually learn a practical skill in one day that is helpful to them, their families, their communities, all the people around them. And when we worked with a group at a school in Grassy Park, they were 15 to 18. I trained 10 of them as practitioners, and their job from that day on was to offer sessions to the matric students, specifically before exams, to just help them get rid of some of that exam anxiety. And then we went into the school every Monday for a few weeks, and we did a kind of a pilot program with 10 matric students. One of them would just fall asleep the minute we started, because that particular child lived in an area where he never got proper sleep at night because there were things going on around in the streets and the houses and noise and shouts and whatever. And he would literally, you'd put hands on his head and he was asleep, and he'd wake up 45 minutes later. Another one, I think for the first 3 sessions, also a young boy. As soon as we started, tears would just start. And at first he was really embarrassed. And we said to him, but this is why we're doing this. And he loved it. He'd be first in the queue. And literally the first 3 weeks, he would lie there with tears streaming down his face. And he'd get up afterwards and he'd go, I'm ready for my day now.
Oh, so
So
beautiful.
I just love being able to actually train people of any age, because people might use the skills slightly differently, but it doesn't matter, because whatever way you're using it in, it's going to help someone else and it's going to help you at the same time.
I think that's the most important thing, is like, also the more you do it, the more in tune you get with other people, and the more you know you're helping people, that inherently helps you too, because that is why we're here, is to help each other.
Yeah.
And right, and try to help people, each other, go through life. And this is a perfect way of being able to do that and giving back, to your friend, or to, your loved one. I just think,
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing
And
skill.
on that point,
Mhm.
Gary Douglas, who founded Access Consciousness and Access Bars, he actually said, what if, how did he phrase it? What if the point of life is to have fun? What if that's the point of us being here? And the more I practice access bars with different groups of people from different areas and different backgrounds and whatever, the more fun I have.
Yeah.
I mean, it is amazing. You know the phrase, if you're having fun, you're not working.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
That's incredible. And, it's one of those jobs as well that you'll never hear about in school. You will never go to a job fair and have someone
Yeah.
tell you you could be an access bars practitioner. But it is actually, in today's world, one of the probably, top jobs that you should
Yeah.
have, because it's just going to help so many people.
Yes.
So I know you were saying, as far as I know, you also teach. So how could,
Mhm.
well, we can look at
Yeah.
South Africa, and if you're not in South Africa where you are, but like, how
Yeah.
could someone learn to be an access bars practitioner if they were here or if they were outside of the Cape?
Okay, so there are access bars facilitators in over 170 countries. So our website is accessconsciousness.com,
Okay.
and you'll be able to find a facilitator to teach you in whatever country you're in. In fact, in August, I trained 2 people who I believe are the first 2 access bars practitioners in the Cayman Islands. So there isn't a teacher there yet,
There you go.
but there are practitioners. But the process is very simple, and this is one of the things that really appealed to me. It takes 1 full day to become a qualified access bars practitioner. And being a qualified practitioner means that you are now allowed to charge a fee for access bars sessions.
Okay.
Or whether you charge is completely up to you. But literally 1 full day of practical training. So I generally do my training in the southern suburbs of Cape Town, but I see a lot happening next year. I'm going to be going to corporates around the country, training various groups of people. And anything is possible. Contact me. We'll see
Yeah.
what we can do. So that's the actual qualified practitioner training. That takes an entire day, but 1 day. And then there are other options as well. We do a 3 or 4 hour family and friends course where I can go into a business or a school and train groups of kids, groups of teachers. And that is kind of the basic training. You're not a qualified practitioner, but you can now offer access bar sessions to your family members, your friends, your school friends, your colleagues. It's just a way of getting it out there and getting more people to use this tool because it is so important and so beneficial.
That's incredible. No, absolutely. And if you are in the Cape or even in South Africa and you want to contact Sam, like we're obviously going to put all your socials, all your details in the show notes so people can get hold of you, of course, 100%.
Right.
So I'm curious, Sam, what do you want to learn about next? Because I know you were telling me you recently did a session with, what was it, like a facelift kind of thing? It was very interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, what other things are you do you have on the horizon, if anything?
There are so many tools within Access Consciousness. It's just amazing. And it's all energy type healing. I do believe Western medicine has its place.
Yes.
But if we can find an alternative here and there, fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, access bars, energetic facelift. There's a lymphatic process that helps all the lymph nodes
Right, like drains.
drain what they need to drain. And, I haven't looked
From my
into that
eyes.
more. I know we'll just do 2 of the energetic facelift sessions. My little big bags under my eyes have gone.
Yeah, that's incredible. I know. I saw you the one time, then the other time I was like, what?
Yeah. And that was after 2 sessions.
Incredible.
So yeah, I think my next learning curve is really going to be around social media related to my business.
Yeah.
I need to upskill a little.
Well, don't worry. Yeah, we can chat about that too, for sure.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think going, yeah, it's interesting that access consciousness has so many other things that you can learn about. So
Yes.
you learn that. I mean, you have just so many skills at your disposal, which is phenomenal. And
Yes.
yeah, for our last question, my normal go-to question, as a mindset coach, this is my favorite. What
Yes.
3 things are you grateful for today?
I am extremely grateful for the circumstances that led to my husband and I having to sell our house so that I met people who offered me access bars and opened up this whole world.
Yeah.
We often are down in the dumps and we think, why are these things happening? Life is just so awful. It's throwing all these curveballs at me. Everything happens for a reason, and you might only realize it 5 or 10 years later.
Yeah.
But you think back and you go, oh, that's why that happened. So I could meet that person who introduced me to that person. I'm so grateful for the people I've met since 2021, who have literally changed my life, changed my career path, and allowed me to learn to help other people. It's been, I won't say it's been fun every day, but it's been more fun than not.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I even look at the circumstances that led us to meeting, which was, me joining BNI, Business Network International. And then, and you're not even a part of BNI, but just by chance, some of my students were on holiday, so I had a chance to go to visit another chapter. You were friends with someone from that chapter. He had brought you as a visitor that day. By chance, you and I were sitting next to each other. I mean, it just doesn't get more like aligning than that.
Exactly. The universe plots for you, always.
No, 100%, 100%. Anything else that you're grateful for?
Oh, nothing that I can specifically pinpoint right now.
No, that's cool. That's
I'm
cool. Don't worry. I
grateful
wasn't sure
that,
if you would. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I'll say I'm grateful that my daughter has left home and gone to a foreign country and she's okay. She's
Oh,
coping.
that's amazing. What country did she go to?
She's gone to the UK. We've got family. She's half Scottish, but she's
Okay.
in England at university. So she's got family within an hour and a half, but not on her doorstep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's doing all right.
That's amazing. I also did the UK. I think it's so important to help you really, grow those wings to
Yeah,
fly your own for sure. Well, Sam, I just want to say that I'm grateful for you and coming on the show today and sharing all this value and your wealth of knowledge. And I hope if this can even just get to, even if one person comes and decides to implement this at their school or their business, or I hope then we will have, done something great. But I'm going to put out there that
absolutely.
it's going to spread throughout the world. So
Yes,
um,
fantastic.
yes. And I appreciate you for helping people focus on their mental health, of course, because this is so important. And I really wish you only the most success and prosperity in 2025 as you move forward.
Thank you so much. You too. I think there'll be a lot of collaboration, which is fantastic as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you very, very much.
you're so welcome.